am the king, 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 king. I am the king, 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 king. I am the king, 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 king. I am the king, 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 king.
Today on episode 27 of Kings of the Village, LaToya Luckett's husband is cheating, allegedly, and she's pregnant. Target manager kicks out cops doing a back-to-school drive, and Dolly Parton throws her support to Black Lives Matter and the protests. And in Seattle, protesters demand white people give up their homes and move out. Also, Kamala Harris, first black female VP nominee. And we're talking one-on-one with activist, protest, and educator Josh of KC. And your questions, comments, and concerns in the episode of It Takes a Village. It all starts next. It's live.
I am the king and will not be.
What's happening, gang and gang members? I'm Stephion. Welcome to Kings of the Village, episode 27. You can be a part of the conversation anytime, online and live at Spreaker.com. We are so excited to have at the King's table activist and protest Josh, who will be joining me in just a minute. He's going to walk through some of these topics, talking about Dolly Parton and LaToya Luckett. Just a fucking mess. We're trying to change the world and people still cheating. Join in anytime on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Google, and Apple Podcasts. And you can always email us at kingsofthevillage@yahoo.com. What a week. Gang, Josh in the building. How you feeling, Josh?
I'm good. Hello, everyone.
What in the world is going on?
A lot. There's a lot going on.
How's your week going?
Now. It's been busy.
You are always busy every time I talk to you, bro.
I know. I don't stay still.
Shout out to the nice haircut and dreads and stuff. Smoking blacks, drinking bourbon. You are the epitome of what I want to be when I turn 53.
Oh my God.
How you feeling tonight? You good?
I'm good.
You ready to get in this? Because people got questions for you, bro. I'm telling you, they are going to go in. Some of them's good, and some of it's like, why he doing this? What he mean? And when I say they talking about all protesters. Some people, believe it or not though, Josh, some people even black don't get it. They don't get the movement. And if you notice, and you can tell me more because you're really on the streets. There was a protest tonight that we're going to talk about a little bit. You can tell me some more information and stuff that's coming up. But some black people don't get it. And some of the stuff I've been to recently, it was all white people. It was like 3 blacks. And they had their gallons of milk and water. And they were just hanging out. And listen, let me tell you about I know we're going to talk about this in a minute at the King's table. But when I went down to the protest, the snacks were so good. I was like, I could get into this. I'm talking about, it was food everywhere, snacks, gallons of milk, cheese. I'm talking about good stuff. It was none of that save a lot, low budget. I'm talking about they had good, healthy.
Everything you need. We take care of it.
I'm like, shit, I can do this?
Yeah.
Man, I was starving, hot. I mean, somebody had a mister. It was a mister. It was a lot going on. They make protesting, because I'm telling you, Martin Luther King in there, they didn't have all that. They was just getting their ass beat and we shall not be moved and walking down the street.
Right.
But I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Let's get into it. We're going to talk about this stuff right now, and I want you to be a part of it too. Make sure you join in the conversation. Thank you so much for being a part of the Kings of the Village, episode 27 on air. I'm telling you, I was just talking to Josh off air, and where were we, Josh? In the Netherlands now? People are listening Botswana, and they've been listening in India. They've always rocked with us. I don't know who is in India, but thank you to India.
Shout out to India.
Shout out to Norway. Shout out to Africa still. Shout out to Leawood, Kansas. Those are the wealthy folks in Kansas. Like, those are people with jobs and good credit. And I appreciate y'all rocking with us. So you ready to get into the King's conversation?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Are you ready?
It's been said, allegedly, that your girl LaToya Luckett's husband is cheating. There is some newfound information that her husband, while she is pregnant now, mind you, that he's creeping. It's sad because the side chick is reportedly saying that she's going to release video. Now, why is it that every time that shit pop off, that something happened, people are like, I got a video on this nigga. LaToya Luckett's husband has been accused of cheating on her with another woman, all while she is carrying their second child, it says, allegedly. The outlet alleges that this woman approached them with a video with a man who was said to look like LaToya Luckett's husband. And she said not only does she have just a video, but she has several videos. And she said if she doesn't get what she wants, she will release the video. Now, it doesn't say what she wants, but it does not sound good for them. Your thoughts on cheating, and definitely cheating while pregnant, or is cheating kind of okay if she's not pregnant? Does it make it worse when they're pregnant?
I mean, I think that cheating is wrong no matter what the situation. I don't think that it matters whether you're pregnant or not. Mm-hmm. I think that it's something that is frowned upon by most people.
But now that she's pregnant, they really gonna go ham on him. So, again, this is all allegedly. This is all suspect. So we don't know if it's the truth. We don't know if it's for real. We don't know what's really happening. But stay tuned for more details. And, of course, we're going to give you the messy drama. And now, get this, though. Here's the one I think I'm kind of mad about. Fat ass CeeLo Green criticizes Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion for adult content in their music. And says Nicki Minaj's influence feels desperate now. These women are coming out, shaking coochie all over the stage. But how come is it okay when men have been flaunting women around in their videos for decades, and now that women are coming back saying how much they suck and dig, and they like getting their coochie licked on, it's a problem. Now people are mad at these women. But just recently, CeeLo Green has issued an apology. Of course he did, because his career ain't popping off, and he's trying to release this new music he got coming out. And Cardi and Megan and Nicki are the popping. Like, I love that women are at the forefront of rap like they should be. And where our Little Kims and Missy Elliott and all of them laid the groundwork in Debrat years and years ago. And now women are at the forefront. And so he now is going to apologize for him clapping at these women, saying that after he posted that on social media, CeeLo, who said his words were just misunderstood, he shared in a lengthy note directed toward the women via Instagram and Twitter. I would never disrespect them by any means. I acknowledge them as all powerful, beautiful, and influential women and professionals. I wholeheartedly apologize to each of them for the inconvenience they have been caused due to my snippet of an interview being used in a headline, and in turn creating controversy and disconnect between me and the ladies as well as their fans. I'm so sorry. He writes after saying he knows most of them personally and refers to Cardi and her husband Offset as just good old family. Is he apologizing because the world went hard on him and canceled his fat ass, or what? Or did he mean it? 'Cause I don't believe he means it. I believe he thought he was going to have some message. He thought it was going to pop off saying, yeah, you right, CeeLo. These women are nasty. Yeah. And when he didn't get that, now he want to apologize because he's trying to sell this shit. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's like every other person that has a platform right now. When they say something that is out of turn, they come the next day with an apology because they already know that that's hitting their money. That's hitting their pockets.
Period.
Like, that's all that means.
So now this dude over here sad and looking stupid. I just don't get it. So anyway, if you want to check out what he said, you can go to his Instagram, CeeLo Green. He posted that long-ass message. I just read you some of it, but he had a lot to say about it. Now he's so damn sorry. He's promoting this new project that I will not be supporting. Because once you go hard on black women, I don't give a damn if they was prostitutes and porn stars. Shout out to P-Valley, the best show on Stars right now. Period. I support him. I'm not a slut shamer. I'm not a shamer of women talking about getting their coochies licked. And just because they're talking about it don't mean that they're necessarily a whore. Cardi B is married. Nicki Minaj has got a boyfriend.
Facts.
So I don't know what that means. You can do anything you want in your marriage. If she want to suck all his nut out his dick, her prerogative.
Her prerogative.
Period.
And I'm sure he will not be mad about it.
Right. He's mad. Anybody touching this, you can tell CeeLo smell like bologna. It bothers me. Anyway, let's get into it. I got some more for you. So your girl Dolly Parton, right? Yeah. Dolly Parton. I don't know if y'all remember. Does anybody remember Dolly Parton? Shout out to Dolly Parton. Superstar, million-time Grammy winner. Just came out in support of Black Lives Matter. She did. Take a listen.
Acclaimed country singer and performer Dolly Parton showed her support for the Black Lives Matter movement in a wide-ranging interview with Billboard. Quote, "Of course Black Lives Matter," Parton told the magazine. "Do we think our little white asses are the only ones that matter? No." She added, quote, "All these good Christian people that are supposed to be such good Christian people, the last thing we're supposed to do is to judge one another. God is the judge, not us. I just try to be myself. I try to let everybody be themselves," she continued.
Acclaimed country singer and performer Dolly Parton voiced her support for Black Lives Movement in a wide-ranging interview with Billboard. She said, "Of course, why would we not support everybody, not just us? Why do we always never have a problem when people," she was saying her people, "talk about topics and issues that matter to the world, but the minute we need to claim something for black people, it's a problem. So of course I support them. There is such a thing as innocent ignorance, and so many of us are guilty of that." Your thoughts on Dolly Parton? Because I know this is dear to your heart, like people coming out and supporting, like, because that's all you're really trying to do, Josh, is get that. But I believe and I love that people with a massive platform, especially white people, to use it in that manner. It makes me feel good, especially, she's a legend. She's been around for decades, and for her to say, "Fuck it," like, what is the problem?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
No, that's so true. And I read an article sort of about this whole revelation that she's had. But it's not anything that's necessarily new to her. She did have the Dixie Stampede in Branson, Missouri, which she renamed 2 years ago to the Dolly Parton Stampede, eliminating the Dixie out of the title for its references to slave times.
Wow.
So it's something that she has been, I guess.
She's not jumping on the bandwagon. She's not new to this.
Right. She's not necessarily new to this, but I think that it's definitely good that she's speaking up and speaking out, because it takes people like her that do have a platform, especially coming from that side, to make a difference.
Yeah. Agreed. I appreciate it. I appreciate anybody getting in and supporting us and loving on us. So shout out to Dolly Parton. Go out and buy one of her mini 45 albums that she got. And I've been to the Dollywood in Nashville, Gatlinburg. I did that one in Tennessee. And man, you talking about, she's a good time woman. She good. She cool. Shows are good too. Check her out. Does she still perform?
I don't know.
I don't know. She's like 80 or something.
She's up there.
Check this out though. So in New Britain, Connecticut, police officers were working with a community group on an annual back-to-school drive, and they were kicked out of Target by the store manager on Saturday, who said he don't support the popo. Lifelong New Britain resident Timothy Conway and co-founder of a community outreach group, the Training and Motivation Center, TMC, said the organization first partnered with the New Britain Police Department when they launched the back-to-school fundraiser program 7 years ago, according to WTIC. But this year, they were kicked out of Target. They arrived on the scene and set up to stuff a cruiser event at Target located at the 400 block of Harford Road on August 8th, and the store manager told them, y'all gotta leave. We ain't with that po-po stuff. None of that in here. He quote, "I told him I was here last year and he didn't agree or believe me and told me we had to leave." The community actors told WTIC, "We were shocked. The officers were sad and devastated, and we were really looking forward to helping these kids. But the manager asked us to leave, and so we did accordingly." Now, although the police officers and the volunteers from TMC running the school supply drive left without an issue, the mayor of New Britain quickly put Target on blast when she found out, and she decided that she would support them and donate. And the regional manager of Target also decided to donate $500. They were very disappointed, and Target did reach out and made a statement and said this was nothing but a misunderstanding, and we hope that we get a chance to do a redo and you will come back and it'll be a bigger event the second time around. Your thoughts?
Interesting. I'm just curious if he still has a job.
Yeah, it didn't say whether he lost the job, but how does a manager of Target make a decision to say, no, you can't do, you don't own that. You're not a regional direct. Listen, I was in retail and I was a district manager. If one of my managers said, I don't give a damn who it is. If they say we're going to get something to the kids, you put all that bullshit to the side. Like, you just being a problem now. They didn't come there saying we handcuffing nobody. Is there a problem? They literally going to drop off some pencils and crayons and book bags. Right. What in the hell is the problem?
You know, I think that the situation that we have right now is one that is so volatile that
nobody want to deal with them. Everybody mad.
Yeah, people are still.
Come on now.
People are still.
You can be angry, but they're trying to do a greater good for the community. How are you mad at that? Listen, what I see police every single day, but I can't say all of them are the worst people on the planet. Even though I can have a personal feeling about them, there are some that are really trying to do good, and I'm not going to push somebody away and say I want to do something in the community.
Right.
That's a problem.
It is a problem, and it's so hard because this situation is not black and white. Like, people's feelings are very gray. It's a complex situation. It's been entangled in our society for so long that it's hard to separate your feelings when
that's right.
You know, you're fighting against a system that is also trying to do something to help you. It's, you know, on the one hand, you want to be like, okay, we should support them and not deter from what they're doing to help the community, but at the same time, look at what they're actually doing to the community overall.
Wow.
Like, how do you look at the bigger picture?
I don't know. That's just scary to me and a little bit low-key dangerous. I mean, I know it's not the end of the world, but at some point we got to figure out how we can work together with this community, because you can defunct or attempt to defund the police all you want, but they're going to be around. It's necessary and it's needed. Yes, there's some cases where they have abused their authority and their power, but there's some shit going down. I'm calling the police. If somebody's trying to break in my house, well, I got something to protect myself. I might react and then call and say, hey, come get this dead body out of my house. But nonetheless, I'm calling the police.
But in that case, did you need the police?
Yes, because somebody got to come get this body and take a report.
Oh, they can come.
But they're going to do it. The coroner, all they're going to do is call the police. So I might as well call them like.
Because now that's all that we have in place.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to talk about that later. Yeah. Wait before we get deep. Right. I know you ready. You on the edge of the seat with your bourbon and like, I'm about to go in. But check this story out, you gonna like. Black Lives Matter crowd in Seattle demands, I'm telling you, I ain't never heard no shit like this in my life. They demand that homeowners give up their property. They saying, you're going to get out because gentrification is real. Take a listen to this. Now, some of the audio may be a little bit hard to understand because these are real protesters in the middle of the streets in Seattle, and we'll explain some of it on the other side of this.
Whichever one it is, give up your house, give black people back their homes. You're sitting there comfortable as fuck, as if they didn't help gentrify this neighborhood.
I used to live in this neighborhood.
But I used to live in this neighborhood. I can live here and my family was pushed out. And you're sitting up there having a good time with your other white friends.
Hey, you work for Amazon, don't you? You work for Amazon, don't you? Because the majority of people that live in the Central District now work for Amazon because it's an easier commute to downtown for. Well, guess what? The guy you work for is part of the fucking problem too. So let's not act like you just are oblivious to the shit because you knew about it all along and you were okay with it. But guess what? We're not. And we're bringing it to your front fucking door. So what the fuck do you plan to do about it?
Guy in the window is calling the cops. The cops? And now we're turning the lights off because we called you a gentrifier. No! Take accountability!
How do you plan to re-gentrify a black neighborhood that you obviously are part of gentrifying because you live here now?
So the protesters in Seattle, the Black Lives Matter activists in Seattle demanding home ownerships, willing to give up their property to black people as a form of reparations because they say we're coming for it one way or another. You're about to run out of options. Either you give it to us or we're going to take it. Give up your house, one said, one of the dozen activists marching through the neighborhood. Give black people back their homes. You are sitting comfortable as fuck, as if you didn't gentrify this neighborhood. I used to live in this neighborhood, and my family was pushed out by you fuckers, and you're sitting up there having a good time with your white friends. we're going to take this house one way or another. One of the Black Lives Matter protests in Seattle said, we're trying not to loot or take this, so you might as well just give it up. Your thoughts?
Wow.
You said this is how a revolution starts, right? So is that how it starts?
A revolution starts. I mean, people are impassioned. People are angry. People are tired. People are fed up. People are wanting change, and they don't know how else to act on it but to just act a fool.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Is this something that may strike a move across the world? Like, what does that look like? Let's really think about that. What does that look like if somebody goes up in somebody's crib and start taking houses? Like, that's against the law, right?
Oh, definitely.
So what do we do about that? How do we say, okay, because you march, you're an activist. What do you say to those people? You say, let's think about this, let's strategize. Can we work with the Department of Housing to say, can a certain amount of our people live in these, like, my neighborhood is gentrified as fuck. Right. Where I live. We ain't gonna say where I live, but it is definitely gentrified, and it costs $1 million to live here. Do I get with the neighborhood association and say, we need to let so many people of certain income brackets or those who grew up in this neighborhood live here? How do we do that without getting our hammers and knives and guns out and say, get the hell out the house? You can't take somebody's crib.
No, you can't. And that is part of the problem is I can guarantee you that those people that were saying that were not part of the larger organization that was organizing the protests. If there is someone that is in fact leading that protest right now, I'm not sure. But there's so much more that goes into it, including demands. And I can guarantee you that that was not one of the demands that they were making. I know, like I said, that people get impassioned and emblazoned with their righteous fury, and they say things that maybe are a little bit out of the realm of reality.
Yeah, I think that's just abusing it. Now, I think a lot of people are claiming to be a partisan groups or just throwing their Black Lives Matter T-shirt on, but like you said, it does not represent the greater good of what we're trying to do as a movement.
Right.
It does not advance us. All it does, especially when we have 81 more days with this administration, they will lock your black ass up, tase you, and get rid of you like you don't exist. This is not a time to be doing illegal activities. That is not what the movement it stands for. Black Lives Matter and other movements that support what we're trying to do, just to have equality and equal rights and job advancement and on and on and on, which we'll talk about with Josh in just a minute. But, bro, that shit struck me down. I'm talking about, what are y'all doing out here? Now y'all just committing crimes.
Yeah.
That's not how we get it done. Yeah. In fact, Josh, it's going to set us back. Because all they're going to do is send somebody in there, whether it's some military force or whatever it's called. Because, Trump calls all these agencies something. And I don't know if any Air Force, military, Navy, or Army supports any of this. These are some made up people. We'll just leave it at that. Because I don't want Trump to send nobody to this address. Because, he's listening.
Right. Of course not.
Before we get to the King's table and talk to our main man, one last thing that I think a lot of people are excited about, some of us are excited about, I'm kind of on the fence about. How do we feel about our girl Kamala Harris being nominated as the first black female vice president? We happy about that? We good with that? What do we think?
I think at this point,
are we just happy to have anything black? Because
we
that's
have
the sentiment
to have
I'm
anything
getting.
other than Trump. But
go ahead, because I'm gonna tell you what I posted, but you go ahead.
I think that she has a rap as not as progressive Democrat, and there are a lot of people in this country that are more leftist these days than not. Primarily the youth of the culture here in America. But I think that she stands for something that is going to push our agenda forward legislatively. And I think that part is important. I think that she has a strong voice and that she is going to make sure that the issues that we are concerned about are going to be heard.
So a lot of people, there are some, I feel like it's half and half. A lot of people are talking about her record in California where she wasn't so nice to people of color, where she didn't always have the best interest of people of color. But I think her current voting record in the Senate, especially working with Cory Booker and a few others, she's really put her heart and soul to protect black people, to have the best interests of black people or people of color at heart. Like, she's really worked hard in the past couple of years. I can tell you for sure I was not a fan of Kamala. Just moving from California, many people weren't. But I will tell you this, what I posted, whatever it was that he picked, I was gonna vote. And I'm a registered Republican, but there's no way in hell I would vote for a Donald Trump Republican.
Right.
Donald Trump's not a Republican person. He is just a person who is filled with hate and trying to destroy the democracy. I don't even recognize the Republican Party, just like Meghan McCain said on The View. She doesn't even recognize this party. And the way that
they let it get usurped by a madman.
Right. And she's a diehard Republican, but she can't even get behind it because he talked about her father, John McCain, somebody who really did work for the good of the people of Arizona and abroad. And he was the final vote, if you may remember, to vote either yay or nay for what they call Obamacare. And of course he turned it down, which Trump never forgave him because they could have changed the entire trajectory of getting rid of Obamacare, which would have lost health care for millions of people. And John McCain said hell to the no. And he stood on his own 2 feet. He had no other support. And so you have to think about the legacy of men like him and John Lewis, and Trump doesn't support either one of them. And those who don't know, look up John Lewis, a civil rights activist who really went toe-to-toe and fought for civil rights back in the day when it wasn't popular, who was quoted as saying, let's get into good trouble, meaning he really cared about people. And the only thing, when Trump was asked about John, he said, oh, he didn't come to my inauguration, so I don't know much about him. So I'm just saying, Trump is such a little petty man when it comes to stuff. Of course, Trump did say Kamala was a nasty woman. Any woman that challenges him or has their own thoughts, Trump doesn't like. Listen, I don't think we have much of an option whether you like Kamala. I think she's a strong woman. She has a strong record, as do many people, whether on the Supreme Court or running for Senate or governor. They're going to have something you didn't agree with.
Right.
But I can tell you, she certainly does support people now. And so I'm going to go on her record now because I was not a big supporter of her. I liked Elizabeth Warren. I liked Stacey Abrams. I've liked Susan Rice, who was in the Obama administration. But you know what? Listen, I've been listening to a lot of Kamala lately, and I hope it's just not political views. I hope it's legit, real shit she's trying to do, real change we can get behind and be a part of. And the only thing I'm really excited about is black people are excited about voting again. And that's all we can ask for. Your thoughts?
We need them to be voting. That is the most important thing.
If your ass is 18, you voting.
You have to vote. You have to 100%, 1000% have to vote. Because that is so important to changing the trajectory of this country.
Can we remind people that it is just 83 days or 81 days till it's time to vote for the next president? This has been like a long 30 years. It feels like of having Donald in office. And forget all that shit everybody talk about, like, oh, he ain't gonna leave. Oh, they will carry his ass out of there.
I was gonna say it won't
matter.
It will be crazy if he tries to do anything like that.
But you can't.
He will get dragged out.
Once you are no longer president, those powers of being president are gone. They see you as, you don't matter. Like, Obama can't just walk in the White House and say, hey, what's up?
Right.
No, you no longer have that access of power. The Secret Service is trained to serve the country and not a person. They will carry your ass up out of there, all 312 pounds and your McDonald's kids, and take you out. And so people were, oh, what will Trump do? He will be carried out of the White House. It's simple.
The most embarrassing thing that he'll
ever. It will be actually devastating. It will be so embarrassing.
It will be embarrassing for the country. No lie.
Other countries already look at us like we're trash anyway. They laugh at us.
This Trump administration is just like
foolishness.
It just ruined our image even more so.
Embarrassing.
Just embarrassing.
Well, the time has come now where we get to talk to the man of the hour. Activist. I call him an educator. He's a poet. Extremely beautiful, good hair, good edges. Protester. And he's a man of the people. It's now time to go to the king's table. It's time for the King's Table, and we have one hell of a guest today. It's Josh activist and protester. He's out there with the people. He's marching. He's sweating and shit. Flags, t-shirts, bandana, good dreads, his cigar and bourbon, and saying, "We will not be moved, just like a tree. You will not overtake us." Josh, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Officially.
So
you are a protester. What does that mean? What does that look like? Because I think people see a protester as just people walking in the streets and destroying stuff. What does that mean to be a protester in 2020, in the 21st century?
Well, there's definitely a difference between a protester and a rioter. And there are always the two out there. That doesn't mean that you always see the two, but the two are always out there. Protesters are those that are standing up for their rights, for the rights of others, against injustices, and standing up for what they believe in. Rioters are people that want to just incite chaos, also known as anarchists.
So when you're in the middle of that, how do you know the two? How do you know the difference? Because when I was down there in 100,000 people, I was overwhelmed. I felt right about it, but how do you know what the difference is? Because I did see people tearing up stuff, but I think they were passionate about it. Are they considered rioters or protesters?
Well, I think that you can be a rioter and be a protester at the same time.
How so?
Because there are some people who feel as though that is the best way to get their message across. That is their tactic. That is, in fact, a tactic of protesting, but it is not in and of itself protesting.
Right. Well, I think, listen, when this all took place, I think after George Floyd's death, around, February, March, I think the end of February, and I knew something was about to pop off then. I knew, like, I'm old enough to remember 92 when Rodney King was beat. I knew something was going to pop off then when people were looting and protesting, right, or marching or rioting. I think it was more rioting in LA than we have now. I think now it's real solidified protesting. Yeah. I knew something was going to pop off, and I think it was, and I always said it was very necessary. While I don't agree with looting, I understand, because it gets people's attention. I think you have to do something, because if we would have just went across the bridge with a flag or a bowl of cereal and sat there by a tree and said we're not going to be moved and sang Negro spirituals, Trump would have been like, okay. The world would have been like, oh, okay, another Negro dead. Right. But this time we got everybody's attention. We got the world attention. We got mayors crying, kneeling on knees crying. Yeah. Because Colin Kaepernick couldn't do it. They said, he was racist and he doesn't respect the flag. But this got their attention, right? So, to me, sometimes, like you just said, you have to have a little bit of both. And why not? Target can rebuild. I don't give a damn if they burn down Target.
Target even said they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. And I'm not saying go burn up Walmarts and all that, but I'm saying if it happens, it happens. Right. Because it's a necessary evil that sometimes you have to deal with. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say you do have to just kind of deal with it. And honestly, like, it gets shit done.
Right. So let's talk about you a little bit, Josh. What has gotten you up? What gets you up? Because you now have, like, solidified your spot as a protester. Like, you wasn't that one and couple of done like a few of me and my homeboys. Like, we're going to go to this one. We're going to go to one more because they got good juice and cornmeal and bread and good snacks. You are out there multiple times a week. What's gotten you fired up?
Well, honestly, I think it was something that was sort of heading my way. I was sort of going through some things in my life to where I was wanting to stand up for injustice, we'll say. And so when I first went out there the weekend after things kind of set off, or the week after things sort of set off, I was just amazed by the passion of everyone, and I finally felt like people were ready for the change that I knew that we needed, and that motivated me to want to stand up, because I saw that there were other people around me who at this point in time finally support that idea.
What does your family say right now? Are they scared for your life, or are they all about it? What are they saying to you?
Well, my family is 100% supportive of me and what I'm doing. I appreciate them so much for everything that they do for me. They've always been supportive of me in my life, and no matter what I do. So that's not something that I've ever really had to worry about. I do know that my mom is a little bit worried for me. I've made videos sort of inciting the police, and Just trying to engage them and just let them know that, you know, I was kind of telling you this earlier, like, I may be scared of the police, but I'm not going to be intimidated by you.
And what does that mean by that? Is scary a form of intimidation? Do they go hand in hand or they don't?
They don't. I don't think so.
So you're saying when you're scared of them means I'm not going to do anything to get crazy, but you're not going to overtake me and make me go to bed when I know I have my rights.
Well, no, it's just I have the same fears that I have anytime that I have an interaction with the police. That at any point in time, if I move the wrong way, I could be shot and killed.
That's right.
So it's that fear inside of me that I still have when I see police officers or when I have situations with them, like when they pull up and surround my car, rolling up to a protest, things like that, you know, that bring fear in my heart, but it's not going to deter me from the message that I'm trying to get out there and from me doing the job that I feel like I need to do.
Which is to be out there no matter what cause. Like, you know they don't like you, but you don't mind getting, I guess, tased or mace.
I don't. And, you know, the thing is, I've been fortunate throughout this whole process to not have dealt with that side of protesting during this time. So I've been really thankful for that.
So, go ahead.
But it doesn't, you know, it doesn't detract from the fact that that's happening all over the place, and that, you know, that is something that shouldn't be happening whatsoever in this country in 2020.
What do you say to those kids who want to do something but don't know what to do, but are really scared to go protest? Is there something else they could be doing?
There's so many other things that you can do. There's so many organizations. Tune in locally. Just look up social justice organizations, racial justice organizations. Look on Facebook for different pages, different events going on, because you can tune in to a lot of things going on where you don't have to be physically out there on the pavement. I know a lot of people, even within my organization or group itself, that they don't feel comfortable being out because of COVID right now.
Right.
But they still do support in other ways and making sure that they, you know, help promote the cause and communicate and post things and share things and, you know, try to engage people in other ways.
What do you say to those who are like, this is unnecessary? We could be using this time to be doing something else. Why is it necessary to protest still? Or is it necessary?
It's definitely necessary. I think that you have a problem that's so widespread that you have to hit it from every angle that you can. And if you don't, you're not going to succeed. You know, we're fighting an elephant. We can't take just little swings at an elephant from the front. We got to take it from the back, from the side, jump on its back. We got to do everything we can to try to take it down. So that means getting out there, getting on the pavement. That means getting people out there registering to vote. That means having people working on legislation and getting things done in the political aspect of everything that's going on.
So this protesting, what does it do really? Does it get people's attention? Does it make change? Or does it just disrupt the process of everyday life? What is the purpose, the sole purpose of protesting?
Well, you know, it's hard because it can be all of those things, depending on the goals and the demands of whichever group is out protesting. There are several groups that are leading protests in the community right now in Kansas City. And that's not something that is just unilaterally decided. And so you just have to take it case by case and see, you know, what is their mission? What is their goal? Why are they out there? Who are they trying to reach? What's their target audience? What's their message?
So walk me through. So let's say we get to a scene, because I really want to, because I have my thoughts on it, because I've been to a couple. What is this scene? How do you get up? Walk us through what that sounds like for this little person in the world, this teenager who feels like they're fed up. Because as a black man, I've experienced a lot, and I've talked about a lot on the show. I've been pulled over in 3-piece suits or just being black, and what are you doing in this neighborhood? So it's an 18-year-old kid, and he's fed up. What is it going to look like when he shows up to his first protest? Tell me everything when you pull up on the scene and get out of your car. What am I going to see? Because it's overwhelming. Walk me through what it looks like. Take us to a protest.
Yeah, it can be. And it depends on the size of the protest. You know, a lot of protests, you have a certain amount of time where you rally, where you have chanting, where you have singing sometimes. You have music going on. You just try to rally the spirits of the people and get them all engaged together and and finding that solidarity in the group that you've amassed out there for the protest. From there, you can have marches where you march to some specific location or across some specific location, depending on what your message is and who your target audience is. And then, you can go back to rallying, or you have people giving speeches. You a lot of times hear public figures giving speeches, activists in the community leaders, religious leaders, all those sorts of people giving speeches and sort of bringing home the message of why everyone's here. Why did we just do everything that we just did out here in the public space?
Okay. So somebody who wants to get involved, you said they can look at their local leadership board. Is there anything other than Black Lives Matter that people can turn to?
Yeah, online. So Black Lives Matter is just one organization. Movement for Black Lives is an overall sort of umbrella organization that encompasses a bunch of different organizations nationally that are working on supporting the rights and equality of Black people, Black and brown people in America. In terms of locally, there are several groups here. There's Real Justice Network, One Struggle KC, Black Rainbow, the Miller Dream LLC. I know that the White Rose Society has been doing things lately. There's a church over off Swope and just right outside Swope Park, and I can't remember the name of it. Southeast Brotherhood.
Which organization gets your group your juices flowing? Like you said, there's this and there's that. There's women for blacks. There's white women for blacks. There's pregnant women for blacks. There's moms for blacks. Right. I've seen. What gets your? How do you know who to choose? Because I feel like I want to do something. Of course, I use this program, the show. And I talk to everybody. I always say, start with right where you are. Right. Whether you're in school, whether you're in the dentist, whether you work for a bank, you can do your thing from right where you are. Yeah. But what kinds of things get your juices flowing? Like organizations. Well, it's like grannies for the blacks.
They all do, and honestly, I'm so ashamed of myself. I forgot to plug my own group.
Please do, because we were going to ask you anyway.
I know, Defend Black Lives, Kansas City.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. But what gets your juices flowing? What kind of groups?
Ones that are out there and that are passionate, who are definitive, who know what they stand for, who have a platform and aren't afraid to use it, and that honestly would be all of those groups that I named.
So the defending group. What does that look like? If we log in or we follow you on Instagram, what are we going to learn about the group and what is it and what are you trying to achieve?
So basically, I started the group out of a rally that I hosted back on Juneteenth weekend, which was an overall event that the Movement for Black Lives was trying to promote nationally to try to get as many events that they could going to try to help support the movement. And when we finished up the rally, people sort of looked to me like, so what next? Where do we go from here? And so I created the group in order to try to keep people connected, because my main thing and my main reason for even wanting to do a rally was to get people together. Because I saw the first week when I was out there, we had a protest on the plaza where there were 3 simultaneous protests going on at the same time for the same thing. And it just shocked me in a way that was not very good at all.
Why was it not good?
It was not good because we have to come together. We have to stand strong together,
but isn't there
as a unified voice.
But there's power in numbers. If we have 55 different groups, isn't that effective?
It's effective only if all those unified voices are together.
But if they're for one common good and say, stop killing the coloreds. I don't care if it's Granny or the pregnant girls or the Dixie Chicks for blacks or Dolly Parton and Dollywood for blacks. Why would that matter?
Well, the biggest issue with it is, from what I could tell, just being there and listening to people and seeing how their behaviors were, it all came from a place of ego. People who were on power trips, who all of a sudden had a voice, and they didn't want to have anyone deter from that and take from that. And there's no room for that in a movement that's talking about equality for all.
Is Black Lives Matter moving in that direction? Is it over politicized? Are they doing the right things, or we should be looking to other groups? Or is Black Lives Matter right on the money?
Well, I honestly don't have a lot of affiliation with the Black Lives Matter organization itself.
And I ask that because
ongoing.
If you go to their website, it's a donation site for Democrats, and it's this, and a lot of people are like, wait a minute, where's my money going to? Like, do you know anything about that? Do you have any information on Black Lives Matter?
No.
The overall group.
I don't, and I honestly, I've heard not good things from the group here who associates themselves as a Black Lives Matter organization, or the Black Lives Matter organization here in Kansas City, even though they're not affiliated chapter from what I've heard. But same thing for the national chapter as well. I haven't heard necessarily great things about them. And so I've kind of steered clear from that and sort of center myself around Movement for Black Lives, just because it is a more widespread organization and they kind of have their shit together.
Yeah, I think just because I wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt doesn't mean I support that particular group. I think it's just a statement that I really support all Black Lives Matter. It's not necessarily the group of blacklivesmatter.org or something like that. Exactly. I think what you have to do, if you're going to be a part of anything, if you want to march, if you want to do this, if you want to stand up for equal rights or justice, there are a plethora of things you can be a part of. Hell, there's a George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. There's all kind of organizations with people's names and titles attached to it asking for money. But make sure you know what these things, the money's going to. Because there are some organizations that have Black Lives San Diego on it, but the money's going to a governor. Money's going to a senator. Money's going to road construction on Highway 88.
Yeah.
Make sure you do your research.
Always.
Before we get to the emails, anything you want to leave, and I always ask people, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave on the table for the people as to why you're doing what you're doing?
Why I'm doing what I'm doing. Well, I can't say that I've had a perfect life, but I've also not had a terrible life. I've had struggles. I've lived through poverty. I know what that's like firsthand. I know that struggle. But all in all, I'm really thankful and grateful for everything that I've been through. But I know that there are so many other people out there who have not had those opportunities that I've had, even the ones that I can say that I've had over the years. So that's why I fight for who I fight for. I fight for everybody who's never had those chances, who hasn't been given those chances because of a system that has been designed to keep them in a situation where they're going to fail.
Wow. Since I know you are pressed for time and you got a lot of stuff to get to tonight, we're going to only do about 4 or 5 emails tonight, but people got a few questions for him. So now we're going to get into It Takes a Village. It Takes a Village. We gather all your questions and comments from kingsofthevillage@yahoo.com. I'm joined by Josh of KC, who is an activist, protester, an educator, and a true Renaissance man with beautiful dreads and good edges, wonderful cigars, and great bourbon. Here's a pleasure to have with us tonight. And he is bold enough to answer some of these. And since I know he's pressed because he got a lot of stuff to get to, he's got a crazy career. But he said, I'm going to talk to y'all. Percy from Lithonia, Georgia says, why do y'all keep marching? Do y'all think anything's going to happen or anything's going to advance from this? They've been marching since the 50s and 60s. And where has that gotten us? A Trump White House. What do you say?
Well, I'll say, for one thing, there wasn't marches going on from the 50s up until now. If there were, we would see a lot more change than what we do.
But would we really, though? Would we really? They've been marching, though. I got to get with Percy on this. Would it really?
Well, you have to understand, the boycott, the sit-in, the bus boycott, Montgomery, 180 days.
That was 180 days. They lost a lot of money. That was effective.
180 days.
But can we do this in the 21st century? Are people really going out with something, going without something?
I've been told that by people who are actually activists themselves that they don't believe in marching because they don't believe that it's effective. But I do believe that if you garner enough support, it can be effective.
So we need to boycott or shut down something like when we had Blackout Tuesday or Black whatever day it was. I think if we hit the pockets, that's when you get people's attention.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what people aren't really saying is that this is all a money issue.
But is it a money issue? I think it's a money issue.
It's a money issue.
Money does matter. Money makes things happen. It brings change, right?
It brings change. And the unfortunate thing is that there are very few people with all the money, and there are a lot of people with none.
I do have a question for you. If we defund the police, not defunct, but defund the police, what happens? If we take all the money away, do we build a new one? Do we not have policing? What happens?
So I think you have to have some form of public safety and justice system. That is not something that people who are for abolishing the police are not thinking about. They just believe in a different form of justice than the current system that we have now. We're based on a punitive justice system where you are punished for your crimes.
Sure.
Whereas you have restorative justice, transformative justice. You have all these other forms of justice where you aren't just throwing someone in a cage and washing your hands of the problem.
Sure. So another question comes from Swanson, which I don't know. I guess that's his name, Swanson. He's also from Georgia. He says, why do y'all keep marching, but yet y'all wake up Monday morning and go back to Fortune 500 companies and corporate jobs? What does that mean? And why do y'all keep supporting the man?
Well, that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's not black and white. This is a gray situation. Are you telling everybody who supports the movement that they should just give up their livelihoods and be homeless?
Well, should they? Should they sacrifice and give it up?
Should they, though?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Should they? I mean, really, should they? Because aren't we supporting them if we're working for the man? I'm not saying I'm going to give up my 9 to 5 yet, but I've really thought about what should I do? Am I doing the right thing by going to a big corporate conglomerate every day, and yet I'm mad about everything it stands for?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a fight that a lot of us have. I know personally that I've had to deal with that a lot in my line of work, because I don't agree with the company mentality or the idea of a really large company and how the smaller people get lost in the shuffle. That's been something that sort of, I kind of leaned on earlier about what got me excited about protesting. That sort of led into it was from work and just dealing with those issues and feelings of unhappiness and
I understand that.
Not wanting to put all your work, your hard work and your life into something that you get nothing out of, no reward from, and they don't care about you at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think working for a big company, sometimes you can make change. Like, I get mad about it, but I'm like, I can leave my footprint there. I can have them do things and donate to things and be a part of a cause, be a part of a movement. So sometimes you do need to be there. I get it. I know it's frustrating. But I think sometimes if you are at the big law firm or the big bank or the big retail, you can implement that change just by making suggestions. And I think you could do effective stuff there. Sometimes you got to do stuff right where you are. Everybody can't march like Josh. Everybody can have a sign in their hand or protest or fight the good fight or be out there in 90-degree heat. Not everybody can do that. Some people have a large family or 8 kids, but they want to do something. So when you clock in at 9 o'clock, you can do something. You can be loud at work and say, hey, I think we could do this. What about donating to this? Our last question comes from Leland in Indiana. She says this: how do y'all keep demanding shit, but y'all have not earned it? Our forefathers did all the groundwork and marched and were beaten and denied access. But y'all get up every day and you're on your cell phones and on Twitter complaining. What y'all so mad about?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm confused because you're also benefiting from that same system.
Yeah.
You can't blame us for living in the society that we live in the culture that we live in.
I think Leland thinks we've made it. I think she thinks we've overcome and everything's fine.
Right, which is definitely not the case.
You don't believe it's the case?
No. I mean, if you look at this, like I thought about it earlier today, and this fight has been something that has peaked almost exactly every 100 years or so. And if that doesn't tell you something, that history is repeating itself and that we aren't where we need to be, I don't know what else is going to tell you.
I just feel like we wake up and everybody thinks because they have a nice BMW or they get to live in a cute little neighborhood means we made it, or they got a little job making 80 or 60,000 or whatever people make these days. But that doesn't mean anything when we still don't have equal rights to stuff and access to stuff. And, you know, everything your credit score is this. But we do know just living in a certain neighborhood, your credit score can go down and you pay higher premiums on insurance. We don't have equal rights as everybody.
Right.
So we still got a lot of work to do. Don't think just because we get to live in a cute neighborhood on the 8th floor means we've arrived.
They're little niceties. They're crumbs.
That's just to keep your mouth shut.
They're crumbs.
That's it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be creating the OWN network or BETs if these things weren't necessary. We still have to highlight just our own stuff to be seen. And there's still only 10% out of 90% of us represented on any platform. It's like that. I'm sure when you go wherever you go, we're particularly the only people who look like us in every situation, which is sad.
Yeah.
And so I know for sure we have stuff to do. Even when I drive through a nice neighborhood and go to the Whole Foods, don't nobody look like me but another brother. That means we're not in that area. There is still work. This world is not this melting pot that everybody thinks it is, unless you go to California. Then in New York, you might see every damn thing. And I don't always mean just black people. I'm going to say we don't, until you get to LA, you don't see the Indians, the Asians, Japanese, Mexicans or Hispanics or everything. Like, but when you go to Midwest, everybody's not represented. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
We still got work to do. And if it was so if we were so together, there's still why would there still be black churches? Why are there still white churches? We still know there's still a great divide in America.
Yeah.
Or are we just comfortable where we're at? And we're like, oh, I only want to go to church with black people. Is this over exaggerated? Is the world okay? Are we just making it a thing?
I don't think so. I think that there's definitely a problem. I think that we rest on our comforts because it's easy.
Okay.
It's not easy to change. It's not easy to grow. It's not easy to learn.
On that note, what do you want to leave us with? Bless us with something before you leave. My guest today, activist, poet, protester, Josh of KC, blessed us today with his knowledge. What are you going to be doing next? What's coming up and where the people can find you? Where can we find you at?
Oh, man.
And how can we support you?
Well, you can go online to Defend Black Lives, KC on Instagram, or look us up on Facebook. There's a Facebook group on there as well, Defend Black Lives, Kansas City. There is a protest going on this Sunday at 12:30.
Gang.
It's going to be at 39th and Roanoke. There's a coalition of organizations that are going to be putting that on. So definitely come out if you are well and you are comfortable and that you feel like this fight is necessary, because it definitely is. Just leaving something with you guys. Just make sure that you think about something other than yourselves.
Amen.
We have come to a time where we are so self-centered that we stop thinking about other people. And while a lot of us may have these comforts that they think of, these niceties, not everyone has that luxury. So just remember, and don't speak up and speak out if you're not one of those people.
Right. Josh, thank you so much for joining us. You can be a part of the conversation as well. And if you like what you heard, make sure you go and download it on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple and Google Podcasts, and of course, iHeartRadio. We want to support this brother and all the stuff he is doing, all the places he is attempting to go. This brother still has a 9 to 5, 11 to 2, 11 to 10, and he's still out in these streets. He is still doing what he's supposed to do, and you too can make something happen right where you are. Our special thanks to Josh of KC again. Make sure you're welcome, and make sure you join us on episode 28. I'm Stephion. Go out and make it a perfect evening, and make sure you do something and be a king of your village. Josh, thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.
So